Varus being banned away, you leave open the Renekton that you banned away earlier. Obviously, you did still have some success here with the Sett, but there's still a lot of other power picks you can use in your arsenal for Errata to kind of slow down the pace a bit. You can opt into the Renekton, into the Sett matchup, and flex him on towards the mid lane, flex him on towards the top side to kind of match Sett wherever he goes. And I would love to see that from Raratum again.
And I was wondering going into this game, do you grab that Varus early on once more for iBoy, or do you change it up? It clearly had the weaknesses in game 2 when it's picked apart, when you make sure you're putting a lot of focus onto it so he's not able to actually get that amount of damage necessary to help out the fight. And this is interesting. Having this Akali drafted so early for the side of RA, you expect it to be FoFo, but I wonder if Cube's got something special up his sleeve.
And okay, there we go. Thresh coming in. Varus banned as well, so iBoy not going to be able to so that goes easy for them. But what is curious to see is that now Raratum is changing up their pace. They're changing up their style. They're opting in for the Akali here, which is a way more explosive pick from what we've seen so far from FoFo, going on to the going on to the Orianna, going on to the Zoe as well, and then the Thresh as well. I think that is a key champion because it can help up iBoy whenever he gets caught out of position. iBoy gets to play a bit more greedy. There's a dark passage to save him away. I think that's going to be key moving forward. And then WE, they pick up where they left with the Kaisa and the Diana coming in. So far WE not changing up anything in their draft.
Is this a Jinx angle? Is it a Jinx angle for iBoy? Do we see him run that back, or do we see? Oh! Does he go for it? That's my question. This draft right now from WE is meant to dive onto an immobile ADC like a Jinx. But if they can keep him safe, if that is going to be on Hong and those Lanterns to make sure Jinx is able to get excited, that is massive for their late game boom.
Oh, absolutely, and you can already see they're taking away some of the strongest supports paired up with Kaisa as well. Nautilus goes away. It can be a bit iffy for the Thresh to play as well. Oh, well, rather there's a bit of mixed opinion on that matchup in general, but it wouldn't surprise me to see them either go for a solo lane ban here if they feel like, all right, we're not really too worried about more supports. I'll just go for the Leona ban here just to make sure that there is no target CC or longer range CC you can put down to iBoy on towards this Jinx as well.
Here it is for Khan. They're going to take away more of the diving potential from Team WE. They already have a draft that's nearly, well, actually 3 of the champions that are the same from last time. They're not going to be able to get that Lee Sin. They're not going to be able to grab themselves something like a Nautilus to have safe engage as well. And I do wonder if the Leona is going to be that call, or if they're going to try to go for something a little bit more flavorful that continues to be able to accelerate their team fight dive potential.
Go. Not being removed as well from Cube here. Now, I suspect they will just pick a jungler. I'm actually surprised there weren't more junglers banned from the side of WE, because realistically speaking, you're just going to pick Leyan's Volibear here, and then you're going to save counter pick for Cube. And then the topside bans won't matter all too much unless you just try to ban out some different counters you had. So yeah, interesting that you don't try and chime down that pool a bit. I was a big fan of the Volibear, but it seems like Leyan wants to spice it up a little bit and goes for the Trundle here.
Now, this is okay, this is coming out of left field. And just hear me out. What if it's a lane Mundo, a lane Trundle? What if it's top lane Trundle?
I mean, it can certainly be a thing. It crossed my mind as well. It is a flex pick in going in against champion with resistances, like for example. Well, I guess Sett really doesn't build all too many resistances out of plated steel caps anyway. But still, a champion that can help you one-shot some of these harder to kill champions, now specifically with the Leona as well, does offer some grounding that you can use on towards the enemy with the pillar, creating some space for your carries, which can help slowing them the targets down when you want to kite with the Jinx, when you want to get on towards the backline with the Akali. And that's going to save the top pick for last year. Either it's a Trundle jungle or it's obviously the top side here. And flex picks has come through as well for WE, so you can't know for sure. Ryze can go top and mid.
Definitely could, but I'm expecting it to be mid. And I also even feel like that takes away what Rare Adam kind of want to be able to have in their composition that late game option, being able to wait it out and try to see if they can win that way. The Jinx, the Akali, even the Trundle, now Mundo, to be extra frontline for the team. Ryze is great at being able to not only clear out these minion waves quickly, but when it gets to the late game, he does a lot more damage than anyone really realizes.
But there's one thing I don't like right now from the side of Rare Atom, and it's the different stylistics you get in that composition. Because with the Jinx, you quite often either want to get a reset and then you can go forward, but most, I mean, just purely you're a kite back champion. That's usually what you do with Jinx, you kite back. Akali, on the other hand, wants to dive forward. But right now, she's the only member on the team with backline access. There is no other people that can follow up. So unless FoFo becomes incredibly fed on the Akali or just goes like, get a quicker item power spike, I see it becoming kind of hard for them to find the priority they want from this Akali pick.
Man, this is definitely interesting. I can understand your qualms when it comes to what Rare Atom have drafted, but you know me and Mundo have to root for it. It's just in my contract that I must root for Mundos at all time, as well as having control in Trundle. But I do get where you're coming from. It is going to be difficult. They have some disjointedness to their composition of what they want to do. However, all of it does boil down to the late game. They can scale up still.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say, though, we talk about ease of execution quite often here. I will say it's on the side of WE once again, just because backline is the name of the game for this meta.
You just want to root against Mundo, don't you?
And, sure. Yes, sure.
Anyways, continue your point.
I don't even know what to say anymore.
Continue your point.
I was like, yeah, I think it's going to be easy for the Ryze to get priority against an Akali in the early game. And we talk a lot about how WE, they like to use mid lane pressure up towards the top side of the map. I think that's where the Mundo pick comes in and fits quite nicely. But I still think there's early dive potential. I still think pre-level 11, you're still able to dive a Mundo if you have 3 members up there.
And here we are. It is game 3. This is where it all matters. Nothing else previously does. Both teams trying to see if they can get themselves one game up and continue to remain in the top of the standings. Only one team will be able to retain that top position. The other will fall slightly behind, joining all the ranks of all the other teams with 2 series losses.
It's going to be curious where the junglers want to pick their attention here in the beginning. It looks like they both want to up down towards that top side of the map. Here's the thing with Trundle. He does very singular damage. He doesn't have any AoE in his kit, and that makes it quite hard for him to clear some of the other camps like the Crocs, like the Raptors. So just by nature alone, he's always going to be a bit behind in clear speed when going up against the Diana here as well.
Nice little flay there from Hong to make sure they can disengage. Both teams trying to see who is going to be able to get that level 2 experience lead. It is a rumble between these two. Neither of them really want to let the other one have that singular advantage.
And that's the thing, you can see they're both fighting for that level. Good plays on towards every... I mean, it is quite easy to do.
Yeah. But it's still impressive because he's been able to make sure to temper it each time. So yeah, you're right. It is really obvious. You see a Zenith blade, but you always want to make sure that your Thresh is going to be able to play that. Right now, FoFo, he's taking a lot of damage there against Mole. It looked a little dicey for a second, but all he wanted was to be able to get a little bit of that health back with the help of that Keystone.
Yeah, of course, but this is a Ryze favorite matchup in the early game, in laning phase. It's always hard for Akali to make use of any of her kit when she's going up against a ranged champion, because she can't really hit that 5-punch strike, so a lot of that priority will go over to Mole on his Ryze pick, and you can see up towards the top side of the map again, Brave taking control over the priority in the top side of the map. So if a top fight Scuttle fight where to break up, it would go in favor of Beishang. So I'm expecting Leyan to path bot side now, and yeah, there we go, making his way through the mid lane.
Even trying to see if he can scare away Mole on the way towards that bot lane Scuttle Crab. But I kind of want to... This might sound like I'm just backpedaling, going back to the top lane. This matchup is so much nicer for Bree, as opposed to the Lee Sin, where you could never get rid of that pesky passive of Q. This time, he can. It's so much easier for him to make sure that he was going to have a harder time of making sure that he is safe underneath this turret to thwart any dive.
You can clearly tell they wanted to look for a dive there as well, but the waves wasn't really synced up, so Mo had to back off again, and he is starting to run a bit low on the mana department, but he does have biscuits coming in, and first one hit 3, second 6 minutes in, so he's got some more sustain he can go for in this lane. He can stay longer.
Yeah, he's going to try to make sure that he can at least clear out these minion waves and keep FoFo pinned underneath his turret. But this is where I'm wondering what we see from WE. The composition of Rare Atom don't really want to make any of these early aggressive plays. You've seen Leyan kind of pass through some of the lanes, but it's a lot more passive out of the Trundle. This Diana is really going to be a lot more of that fast acceleration that either jungle wants to be able to provide.
Yeah, you're completely right about that one, and obviously you will hit level 6 first. It's Beishang. Last time around with the Volibear, it was easy for Rare Atom to start setting up some dives with the ultimate to disable the turret, but this time around, they need to be a bit more creative about it. Breathe.
He's going to be safe. He's even got the face breaker haymaker shield. Look at the damage onto the Leyan. He thought he was safe. He thought he was going to be able to get that bit of damage onto Breathe, but you got to respect Sett.
You really do. There's not much you can do there, and definitely not dive with the damage coming out from a Trundle and Mundo. And it looks like Cube decides to stick around here, not going for an early recall himself, although I think he could just go back and get up, pick up a couple of Ruby Crystals on towards the bot side of the map.
Nice play, and look at the damage onto Elk. Elk's got some backup, but he's exhausted. Trying to see if they can get him away. Mole, he had TP'd down into the bot lane just to make sure that FoFo could not find that assassination onto the ADC.
Yeah, but TP came through, double TP on the side of Rare Atom. So right now, Mundo forced to walk all the way back up towards the top side of the map. So in an engage that looked to favor Rare Atom, it's actually WE that come out on top. They get the Summoner spell advantage after that one.
And they should be able to get a plate top side for Breathe on top of it all. This is looking pretty good for WE. Even if it didn't end up getting him a kill and it looked dicey there for Elk for a bit, it actually ends up being a big boon for their early game potential.
It really does. And it also means that in the next 5 minutes or so, whenever a skirmish does arise around the bot side of the map, WE will always have the priority because they will always have the ability to bring down one extra man. Remember, Mundo, no CC or disruptive power that could stop a TP from coming through. So for the rest of the map, this does create a dicey situation from Rare Atom. They need to wait a bit to create any more of these plays towards the bottom side of the map until their own TPs are back up again.
I think that is why Leyan is actually pathing and continuing to stay towards the top side of the map. Might want to be able to fight around the Rift Herald when it spawns instead of trying to play it for the Dragon in the bot lane, knowing that it could be risky for Breathe to show up.
Yeah, you're completely right about that one as well. And also just to shadow the Mundo a bit, you can see Mundo was in a position where he had pushed in the turret. No priority in the mid lane. They didn't have intel onto Beishang, so they needed to be a bit careful that there wasn't no dive about to happen. And now, Q back into a safe position where the wave is slow pushing onto him. And there you go. This is the Mundo weak side you love so much. Just farming waves up with cleavers.
Mundo goes where he pleases. Don't you know this? Come on. He's allowing Breathe to rent out some space top.
You know, Matt, there'd be no way for me not to know it. I think you've told me throughout like the past hour of watching a Mundo.
I feel like I haven't said enough though. I feel like I could do more. I feel like there's so much more I could say here, especially now that Leyan's pathed into the top lane and might look to see if they can have a fight on the Breathe pillar. Could be enough, but there's still a flash available for Breathe to stay relatively safe. In fact, he's playing this one wisely. He's backing off, just going down towards this Rift Herald, trying to see if they can make sure they can retain some vision control around the Rift.
Yeah, all he needed to do was just shove in the minion wave towards the top side of the map, and then there is no kill pressure, realistically speaking, so there's no way for him to push forward. Now, one thing I would like to see soon is that Drake startup from the side of WE. I want to see them actually utilize having a TP advantage, because then you can create a situation where you either bait Rare Atom into a fight, or you just get a Drake for free because they don't want to fight, knowing that there's a TP advantage.
Beishang.
So, yeah, something I'd like to see.
Yeah, Beishang is... Oh no, he was towards the bottom side. Now he's immediately going towards his blue buff. And in fact, looks like they're making a call onto the Rift Herald instead of trying to make the Dragon play. And if that's spotted out by that ward in the back of the pit, it could be the call coming in from Rare Atom, but they don't even need to have that vision. They just go for it anyways.
Yeah, the timing is not really right for them. They want to hand off the blue buff to Mole as well. In the meantime, FoFo had actually gotten the priority for one. Bot lane, of course, still in the priority with this Jinx as well down towards the bottom side. And then Leyan for free is just able to pick up the first Drake. But you said it yourself, there is a cross map through here.
Oh.
Beishang
No.
not actually wanting to pick up the Rift Herald, wants to farm a bit instead.
I think maybe they thought that Leyan was on the top side, not realizing, since they don't have that much vision on the bottom half of the map, that Leyan was actually taking the dragon. And once that notification came up, they're like, he's probably kicking himself and like, should have gotten the objective when we had the chance, because now Leyan's immediately booking it. They got FoFo, they've even called up Hong just to make sure they can secure one more objective.
Yeah, but leaving iBoy alone down towards this bottom side of the map without the Thresh, I don't think he can do that when there's a stack minion wave pushing in. I think he need the support down there. And WE realizes this. They go on Beishang.
Has to use the subjugate and the Realm Warp behind, but now he's by himself. It's going to be the Pillar and the Realm Warp flash in, smash down. Breathe gets himself yet another kill, and now they can turn on to the Rift Herald.
Yeah, timing is perfect from WE. They waited for the moment Huang was no longer part of the fight. Beishang, as soon as he found Leyan alone in the pit, just went for it immediately, sended the Diane ultimate, and they were in for the first blood for them.
And giving it over to Breathe, it feels like this is a WE special, always making sure that he is in a prime position to lead the charge for the team. Getting a Rift Herald as well. I just wonder where they're going to put the gold is right now. iBoy getting tagged, getting stunned, getting a little bit of damage onto his head.
Oh, yeah, he most certainly is. He even gets the Kaisa passive right there as well for a little bit extra damage. But gold lead right now is in favor of WE. If we take a look on towards it, you can see small gold lead for Mole in the mid lane, a bit for Beishang in the jungle as well, and then up towards the top side. So most of the lead for WE is towards the top side. Bottom fairly even in between iBoy and Ike, which is honestly pretty nicely done from Elf. The fact that he stays even after being pushed on the tower so many times, it's just great for WE.
Constantly making sure that he is staying even. You're right. It is nice to see from WE. Making sure that they will have that path to success when it comes to these team fights as well. Their composition just feels like comes online that much sooner than Rare Adams, who, unlike in Game 2, when they were the ones that were able to find these fights and actually accelerate the game slightly, even if it ended up going awry in the end, were the team that had a good scaling option to them.
Yeah, you're completely right, and it's going to take some time for Rare Atom to find their footing here. We're looking for at least one Mythic as a power spike to come through. What I'm worried about from Rare Atom's side is that when the Mystic starts to come through from WE, there is a lot of backline access for them to have onto iBoy. Yes, he does have the flash. Yes, he does have the lantern. So Huang's positioning is going to be absolutely crucial in keeping iBoy alive when we go to these team fights. Because if you're able to do that, if you're able to waste the ultimates from World Elite or WE, and then just keep your carry alive, that's going to be your point to engage yourself with the Akali, to come in with the follow-up damage, to come in with your front line, and start looking for a fight yourself.
Look at this. WE, they are looking for iBoy. They want to make sure that they can get something over this Jinx early on. Beishang is nearby. That is it's not as big of a minion wave as I had initially thought, but it will be enough to keep iBoy a little bit scared on this bottom side of the map, now knowing exactly where Beishang is.
Here's the thing though, Breathe did TP up towards that top side of the map, so if they overcommit for skirmish here, there is a potential where Cube will just TP down as well.
FoFo sees Mole, but taken low and forced to have Leyan help him out so they can take the kill mid.
And there it is. You talked about how a lot of people put a lot of pressure onto Mole to make sure he can get down. And remember, towards the Rift Herald skirmish before, he had to use the flash to secure one of the kills. And therefore it means that first kill rather, will go over to Rare Atom. Cross map will come through though, and they're trying to inject some gold on towards the bottom side of the map, but I don't think they're going to be able to pick up the first turret.
Leyan, he is pathing. He has got the TP as well from FoFo. They're trying to see if they can scare away WE. There might be the TPs coming in here. There, underneath the turret. The turret's so low. Hung taken low, but he's still alive, holding on to dear life. Finally, he's finished off, and the turret as well. They're going to be able to get the trade onto Elk, but now Misty's taken out of the fight. Beishang, Mole trying to be able to get away. Realm Warp to help them out. Beishang barely holding on, but now they're diving in. The flash in to pick up the kill, and Mole, he cannot retreat. There's already 2 kills for FoFo. They would love to be able to get more into his pocket, but it will be Leyan who finishes off instead.
Such a greedy overextension from WE. They tried to go for that turret even though they had no business doing it. No mid lane priority, had to TP in with Mull, but the rest of the members was just going to collapse. And now iBoy in turn will get to pick up some solo plating for himself, getting him some extra gold here. And here we start up with the mid lane where Mull, no flash, it's not all that much to it. He's just a dead Ryze.
I can respect it though. He thought he was going to be able to kill FoFo faster, so that's why he goes for the play. But then you fast forward, and this play, like you said, it's just WE. They thought they had it. They thought they could fight earlier on than they should have.
It's just an overextension, and the plating just gets too much armor. You weren't able to one-shot the turret with the Rift Herald, with the true damage you get from that. And then the Realm Wall, you've only put 1 point into it. You can see Mo, he's level 10. You really don't go all that too far with a level 1 Realm Wall.
No, they do not. Now a second dragon has been picked up by Rare Adam, and a fight inside. FoFo, what are you doing? You're way too far out. You just got the dragon.
Shut down.
We spoke of greed. They got the Drake, they wanted to get the red buff, and they get caught off guard by WE, which they should have known was going to be around for that red buff. So now there is some point in time where you can get some pressure onto the mid lane. You can move that pressure down towards the bottom or top side of the map to get some extra vision for Breathe.
Elk, he had to flash away. Man, there's some greed happening right now, Guldborg, between these carries on both sides of the map. I get that there's a lot riding on this one. They're anxious. They want these fights earlier on. They just had the last game, whereas the knife's edge for so long. But you gotta play it a little bit more passively than that, boys.
The thing is you're only 15 minutes into the game. You don't one-shot turrets, and the rest of Rare Atom was just resetting, so they are coming back. You have no business hitting that mid lane turret, because realistically speaking, you're only going to get that mid lane turret off of one fight. The small chip damage you use now won't matter, so rather, you should have pushed in mid and used the pressure in the side lane instead. But Elk disrespecting the fact that the members were resetting and coming in, and it's just forced to burn off the flash for no reason, really.
And with this one, even though the gold is dead even, there are some summoner advantages on the side of Rare Adam, making sure that Elk is going to be a prime target for them to try to focus on when it comes to any sort of skirmishes, especially around something as pivotal as the Rift Herald. The dragon still's got a long time left until it respawns.
It does, but FoFo now have also picked up the rocket belt. No flash onto Elk, so it can become a bit dicey if he gets caught out of position, but Rare Atom, they're posturing up for this fight. They have started. They got the vision. You can see the super control boards. But WE, they want to enter this one.
There's all 5 members of both sides here. Breathe has a flank angle. They're going to be able to get the hook onto Missing to pull him back in, and he has to go golden to be able to survive. While Beishang was able to pull back everyone in with the Moonfall, and FoFo trying to be able to dash around as best as possible. Haymaker shield coming in with a huge amount of damage, but it's not enough. WE trying to be able to run away from the fight. They lost the objective control once more.
Yeah, and Leyan took so much control of that choke point with one single pillar. It was hard for WE to get access with that choke point. So much damage to come out. They got a bit greedy. You talked about it yourself. Beishang flash forward or dash forward, trying to get the ultimate onto iBoy, but Exhaust was ready from Hang, the Lantern as well, and it was just an easy fight for Rare Atom to pick up.
They just didn't have the coordination at that moment to be able to dive fully in. Breathe, too, was a bit late to the party. Sure, he was able to kind of help out disengage, but it was just too little, too late. Rift Herald now into the pocket of Leyan.
And this also means that a lot of the pressure going on towards that third Drake is going to be for Rare Atom's side. Not only do they have more gold in their pocket now, not only did you see how well they set up around objectives, now they also have that 6-man in the Rift Herald they can use. So the impact of this fight is actually huge despite the gold lead not being too big. And there you see the pillar. Look at how many members can't get onto the fight due to the pillar just being there. Beishang tries to get on to carry the target. He's immediately exhausted, and as soon as he's out of the fight, doesn't matter, Breathe gets this damage down. He's already out of the fight. There's no members left to follow up on that damage.
And I gotta ask, is FoFo really the target you want to drag in that fight as well? You drag him right on top of your carries. It's a bit dicey there, because FoFo can always dash away if you're not able to lock him down long enough, since Missing was pretty much dead from the beginning of the fight. I feel like iBoy might have been the better target, and now iBoy is sitting pretty at 2-0-4, has his Phantom Dancer as well.
Yeah, he most certainly does, and it just came down to the fact that the priority had been on Rare Atom's side. They were the first one on the objective, and WE was walking in blind. 2 pink wards, one towards both entrances, was put down by Rare Atom, so there's just nothing World Elite or WE could do when walking into a situation like that. But something they can control this time around is how they want to fight the Drake, if they want to do it. I think it will be hard though. I can imagine that Rift Herald will be used by Rare Atom in 15 seconds time, get mid lane control, and then just start to pick up the Drake. Beishang looking onto Q.
Warp 2, they're diving in on top of him. It's the flash away because it's Mundo, and he goes where he pleases. He had the passive up available, so they couldn't really do too much. Breathe might have gotten 1v1 by FoFo, but he's scared off and knows that it's probably not the best call, especially as mid lane, if they take it down with the help of Shelly.
Exactly. Beishang trying to come in from the flank as well, but Hwang is in a position where he's playing lantern duty for iBoy. That's all he needs to do. A lot of Thresh players make the mistake that they need to be the key engaged, the one that gets the sick hook. But most of the time, it's about keeping your immobile AD carry alive that does not have a lot of agency, like the Jinx.
And here we go, 2 games in a row. You have an early potential soul for Rare Atom, a mountain soul. I mean, the ocean soul you love to have on a Mundo, but you're not going to scoff here at this mountain dragon potential.
And here's the thing, once again, they're putting in a lot of resources towards the top side of the map. They won a cross map against the Mundo, but you're never really going to get a kill onto this guy. They get a turret out of the pressure, and that's nice and all, but still, the map state in terms of gold, in terms of objectives, in terms of control, is still in Rare Atom's court.
And this is what we tend to see from them. They like to play it slow. They've slowed this game down far more than they were able to last time around. Sure, they liked that. They were able to get the early lead, but then they faltered at the finish line. They were struggling to be able to fully engage into these fights. iBoy didn't have the ability to be able to move around, but now with Hong on to this Thresh, makes it so much easier for him to play up, clear out the minion waves, and know that he can retain safety.
Yeah, you're completely right. And it's going to be some time for the next strike to come here, 4 minutes. Now, most teams, as we already talked about beforehand, would probably set up some vision around this Baron. They probably would bait out the threat of a Baron being taken, especially when you have a Jinx. But Rare Atom is not that kind of team. Rare Atom is the kind of team that wants the soul win condition before they start looking for the likes of Baron. So I still think we're going to have some downtime in this game, some downtime for this Ryze to pick up the second item, to stay alive and get the camps that you can, clear the line of defense of vision, and just get some gold, really. That's what you're looking for WE.
Looked a bit scary there for WE. Thought that Hong might have been really antsy to try to start off a fight himself, try to see if they can get Beishang, because if they can take away the jungler, the opportunity to be able to go for that Baron is all too clear.
It really is, and I still don't think they do it. Like, I honestly think Rare Atom is the kind of team that will just walk back and forth between this Baron and not start it up unless they really have to.
Are you sure about that?
I guess I'm just getting shot up. I love this. I'm glad I'm seeing it, though. I'm glad I'm seeing it. It's a proactivity that I've been missing from them.
Spot it out.
Now that they get spotted,
50%.
What are they going to do?
The TP is there for Cube if he wants to join. Here comes the TP in from FoFo. FoFo diving onto Beishang, trying to take him away. It's down to 25%, but Beishang's still alive, and that's going to be the showstopper by Breathe on top of Hum. And they've got the kill, but the Baron secured by Leyan. The fight continues. Breathe, they got to use the shield to be able to stay alive. FoFo trying to be able to get away from Elf, but they have the Realm Warp to try to see if they can get away. Bolt's going to be the only one. Then they got iBoy. iBoy trying to take down the members. No, he misses the rocket, but he's still chasing. He's still looking for the zap. He knows how low Elf is. He has flash. Does he go over the wall? Waiting it out. Trying to heal back up. Q. Leon, they're the tanky members. They don't care. There is a minion wave potential, but finally, Rare Atom relents.
And finally, they break that LCK stigma. Finally, they decide to just start up the Baron when they have all the control in the world to do it. Rare Atom making a proactive adaptation, and it's paying off its dividends in this fight. You can see FoFo doing a great job at just zoning away Beishang, and all they really need to do here is keep them split. All they really need to do here is make sure they get Baron. After that, you just play out the team by front to back from iBoy on the Jinx.
And look at this. He is just pretty much safe once they kill Breathe. No one really can get near iBoy.
It's a nice sidestep from Elk here. Like, oof, that does become quite close. Yeah, and if he gets that reset with the flash up, that might have been another story for WE, but they're able to at least keep 3 members alive after that little skirmish or team fight rather around the barrier.
But you know what? Last game we saw that it was Rare Adam getting a soul and then losing the fights. This time it doesn't seem as likely. They've got the Baron already secured. They've got control around the bottom half of the map. There is TP for Breathe, but Rare Adam seem like they are in a far stronger position than game 2.
Oh, they really are here, and with the pressure with Barret buff, they don't need to worry all too much about the pressure from the Mountain Drake. And this time around, they had Ocean Soul last time, now they get the Mountain Drake, and that's still great for the front laners. That's still great for the likes of Akali as well, who opt into some sort of armor.
iBoy, you can't touch a Beishang, and he is now excited. Mole dies solo to FoFo top lane. Rare Adam now, they have an easier time mid lane if they want to try to see if they can take this tier 2.
And it just came out of nowhere. Rare Atom became so explosive. FoFo going for a solo kill. WE overextending a bit. Yes, they got the flash out from iBoy, but he still had the Thresh to get him to even more safety. And then with the pillars control they're creating from Leyan, it's just helping iBoy putting some nails in some coffins here. Great job from Rare Atom.
Damage from iBoy. Those crits are massive. Missing. He is not nearly tanky enough to be able to survive this. And Rare Adam, they've cracked the base. It's 25 minutes into the game, and they've already gotten themselves the mid inhibitor.
I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of this version of Rare Atom. This is the style we were looking for in them, and they've opted up the gear a little bit. We talked about it. We wanted 3rd gear this time around. Baron buff us, they're trying to clear out the jungle, and they're trying to get Drake as an exit objective on the play towards mid lane. TP coming through from FoFo as well. This is looking dire for WE. They need to get into this situation. They need to get river control if they want to get into the Drake, but I think it's going to delay their
go for the party train? 3 members took it, but Mole's not one of them. Mole, you might have faded in your team. FoFo jumps on top of you looking for the solo kill. He's able to get that for cross, but he cannot escape from the zap, and the fight continues. Huge Rocket getting huge amounts of damage, even getting excited once more. Double kill, trying to see if they can get the triple kill for iBoy. WE trying to be able to run away from the fight, but they want to pad it. They want to give iBoy his penta. Elker, the only one. The extreme talent coming in from iBoy. He's got it. It's an ace and a penta.
And that's what we were looking for Rare Atom. iBoy, after being caught off guard so many times in the former games, gets to end this one with a pentakill. What a pop-up performance. Pressurized, facilitated by team. Leyan with the pillars, Huang with the lanterns. Great job of team play and display here from Rare Atom.
When they can play around the positioning of iBoy, play around FoFo assassinating these backlines, Rare Atom can accomplish anything, like getting a 2-1 in the home turf of Team WE.
And you know, that team fight was never gonna go well for WE either, but I respect the fact they said either we fight them at this Mountain Drake or we'll just lose the game in 5 minutes. So they decided to go for it when there was no soul anyway. They realm warp in with the entire team. Of course that's not going to work out. That's just a suicide mission. That was the suicide squad we had here in our LPL.
I think the biggest problem for me with that realm warp is that not everyone took it. Mole didn't go with the party train. He let his team go on ahead of him, and they were just lambs to the slaughter at that point for iBoy to be able to pick up his pentakill in this victory. 10-0 and 2 on that Jinx.
Yeah, and you can see Leyan smiles on his face. He's happy about his performances. They had some good performances on the volley bear, some great facilitation on towards the Trundle as well. But on toward the 3rd game here, it was all iBoy. What a performance coming out from the Jinx. And once again, facilitated by the teams. This was not him alone. This was a champion with close to 0 agency that just came to this point in time and came to this level of power due to his teammates setting him up for success.
He made sure they could constantly peel for iBoy, that he was always going to stay safe. They didn't have to worry like they did before when it was the Forest who was immobile and everyone was piling on top of him, making sure to kill him immediately. This time, he had the team built around him to succeed.
He really did. And, you know, FoFo as well, I talked about how I felt some sort of mismatch in terms of how these compositions work, but that did not matter because FoFo with the Akali just picked up members. Ice isolated alone, and then the rest of the team took the trades, or the fights rather, 4 versus 5 or 4 versus 4 in the standard team fight scenarios. And Cube also making the Mundo work. I gotta say, in a vacuum, I mean, there's not too much excitement over Mundo, but when you play him as a weak sider, where the rest of the team, especially WE, where they play towards the top side of the map, can't get a lead against Mundo, that's a great pickup. That's a great adaptation into the series, because they are so reliant on getting brief ahead. When they couldn't get the extra gold against the Mundo, it was just iBoy taking over towards the bot side of the map.
And you know what? I'm happy Mundo got his victory today. He goes 1-1 in the day, but Rare Adam getting the 2-1, especially after that game too. A lot of times you see when a team has a lead like that and then they end up losing the game anyways, that the third game, the last game that they play, ends up being the exact opposite of what we saw in this game. Usually they're the team that have kind of lost steam, but here Rare Adam, they knew the composition they wanted to be able to build and they thrived.
Yeah, exactly. We talked front to back this time around a bit easier, and we also talked about the different stylistics between both teams. WE wanted to be a facilitator of the top side, Rare Atom wanted to be a facilitator of the bot side, and in some case scenarios it worked out better for WE, but in this case scenario it just worked out better for Rare Atom, and I like we see these different stylistics face off against each other between playstyles and teams. And one thing I will say though is that Leyan had he's probably not going to get too much recognition for this series, but I think his objective stacking in the early game was always really clean. His impact on the volley buffer dice was impeccable, and then on towards the side of the Trundle instead, like the space he created was amazing as a little facilitating jungler.
I think we can all guess who gets the MVP from this game. Someone gets the penta, you give him the MVP. That's just how it works. His second one of the split. And you know what? When you're able to get a pentakill on a Jinx like that, you deserve it.
Yeah, for sure. iBoy, of course, but probably most known for taking these pop-up performances on towards the Kaisa as most LPL AD carries, but this time around with the Jinx and finishing it off with a pentakill in a stellar team fighting like that feels great after you've just been suppressed by so many members in the former games.
And I gotta say, this Rare Adam, if we see more of Game 1 and Game 3 Rare Adam, this is a team that looks unstoppable. They have great styles when they play their compositions to a T. When they play their style, it is very difficult to be able to crack it, but there are some of those gaps that they have. You saw that in Game 2, and so when we go further into the split with Rare Adam, I'm wondering how, we gotta say, how long can they keep getting away with this?